Hello everybody, welcome back. It is me, your old pal Orpheus, with another adventure here on Orpheus Plays. We are playing Blade and Sorcery today on the PC, and you might notice some bodies laying around. I already got one round in to do a little warm-up. So, what do we have to talk about today? I just got through with something that was absolutely awful, and let me share it with you. Our AC went out, and oh my god, was that a debacle. But we'll get to that in a second. I hope you're doing well wherever you are today, whether it is day or night, or you just realized that it's 110 degrees outside still, and you don't have anything but one fan, just one fan blowing at you. That actually did happen, so we'll get to that in just a little bit. Let's see here. We are in survival mode, like I said. 3 weapons come out. I choose one, and I destroy everything that comes out. We'll choose this. What is this? A pike. Oh, okay. Let's get things going. It is a great day for murder. Let's bounce off the ground here. This is what I like. Hi, doing. All right, so let's get our first traditional slow motion kill of the day out of the way. Here we go. What do you say? Oh no, that is probably the worst way to die that you could ever imagine. Let's catch him. Let's catch him. Catch him. Oh. And he's down. Okay. With that out of the way. Oh my god. Epic. So let me get to today's topic. All right, so this happened about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. We're sitting there, and yeah, it still gets pretty warm here during this time of year, and during the day it can get up to about 90 or so, depending upon what's going on. And so we're sitting there, and I'm sitting there with my wife, Mrs. Orpheus, and we're just kind of tooling away. I'm doing some editing of my videos, and she's just gaming away on World of Warcraft. And I look at her, and I'm like, honey, is it a little warm in here? What happened to my pike? I'm like, honey, is it a little warm in here? And she says, yeah, I mean, it seems a little bit toasty. Oh, no. And so I go and I look at the thermostat, and it's like totally creeping up. It was already like 78 degrees, 79 degrees, and we like to keep our house nice and cool during this time of the year, because it's a reprieve. You don't have to pay as much when it's, just 90 degrees outside as opposed to when it's 120. So I look and I'm like, okay, well, this sucks, because we had just had a technician out about 5-6 months ago that told us, oh, you got a little tiny Freon leak. It's no big deal. Just keep an eye on it. Things may start warming up a little bit, so that's, that's something you might have to expect. So, all right, So naturally, that's what I thought was going on, okay? Had this, Freon leak. Obviously, that's what it is. It was still, Friday afternoon at like 2 o'clock, right? So plenty of time for them to get out a technician without any overtime costs or anything silly like that. All right, so, ow. So we give the landlord a call, and we're like, the AC is kind of not working. And of course she's like, how's your filter? Check your filter. Check your battery in the thermostat. Okay, well, those two things, totally fine. But there's just no air blowing out at all. And it's like, well, I don't know. This might not be Freon, but, it could be. I'm no AC expert, right? And so the landlord says, okay, I'll see what I can do. This guy shows up about an hour later. And he's like, okay, I need to see the thermostat. I need to see the AC unit. And he's like, is that one up on the roof yours? Yeah. And so, so he goes and he looks and he comes back and he says, well, it's the fan. It's this timing fan that you have in there that he's like, it's turning really slowly, but, it's not turning well enough. And I'm like, okay, well, is that a part you have? He's like, well, unfortunately, no, it's not one we keep in stock. And I'm thinking, like, you're in a place that's really hot during 3/4 of the year, right? And you don't carry every single part for an AC unit that you could possibly carry? Oh, no. Oh, that was awful. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus, he's dead. Tell me, how did my husband die? Anyway, so he's like, I'm going to get it. I'll come back, well, he says, I can't get it today or this weekend. He says, they're not open. He says, I'm going to have to wait until Monday. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, whatever. So I'm like, should we stay at a hotel or something? Are you going to like miraculously come up with this part over the weekend? He's like, well, you do what you want to do. So I'm like, oh, honey, we should probably get a hotel. So here's our mistake. The first mistake. I went online to one of the major hotel website kind of things. And I'm like, okay, well, I need to book a room for 2 people and 1 dog. Yes, we have a Doge. And I'm like, okay, I need to book this. It was pretty reasonable. There's one place in town. This is kind of a touristy town, right? So we have a lot of hotels here, and so I chose one that I'd always seen some good reviews about. It's one that has suites and stuff, and all the rooms are suites, that kind of thing. And so I was like, yeah, let's rent that one. Went through, did the whole booking online. Oh no. Did the whole booking online thing, paid for it, put the credit card in, and I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. It's all set. All we got to do is go hang out. They got free Wi-Fi, and they got a pool and a hot tub and everything. It's like, this looks pretty sweet. Oh, no. By the time he hit the ground, you were dead. So... go to do that. I finish the booking, and then immediately I get an email. Now, it may have been a form email, like an automated one. It may not have been, but it was from the hotel that I just booked, and it said, we do offer, we're pet friendly, obviously, but it said, give us a call to confirm your reservation if there's any issues that you have and you just want to make sure. Well, it was still a little early, so I was like, maybe we can go and check in early. So I gave him a call. And I said, hey, this is, Orpheus. I just made a reservation online through whatever.com. And I said, I need to know if we can check in early. And he says, oh, did you already get to town? And I said, well, I said, funny enough, our AC went out and we live here in town. Well, immediately the mood changed. Right on the phone, you could hear. It was like, we don't rent to locals. And I'm like, excuse me? Says, yeah, no, we don't rent to locals. There's been a lot of trouble with partying and with people doing drugs and stuff in the rooms. And so we don't allow people from town to rent our rooms. And I'm like, what? Wait a minute. I'm like, I'm a retired disabled veteran. My wife has gotten accolades as a pillar of this community for the last 12 years, right? And I'm like, and you're telling us that you're worried about us, what, doing drugs and having a party? And this person on the phone is like, well, that's our policy. And I said, is there someone there, like a manager? Of course, I went all Karen. I was like, let me speak to your manager. Except I wasn't. I was like, is there a manager there? She says, yeah, standing right next to me. I said, could you do me a favor and just ask him? Just kind of mention what I just told you, disabled veteran and all that stuff. And she leans over. You hear her go away from the phone. He's like, disabled veteran. And you hear him go, mm-mm. So she says, I'm sorry, we can't do that. So I had to go back to the website, and I had to get it canceled. Right? And then the website had to call this hotel to cancel to confirm it. And I was like, why couldn't I just have called them in the first place? Whatever. Oh. Good night, sweet prince. Let's just leave that there as a monument to his failure. Anyway, so this website goes and they take care of it with the hotel. And then I go to find another one. Except I'm like, I'm not doing this online booking thing. So I call and I'm like, hey, do you guys have any rooms for rent? And she says, yes, of course. And I said, because it's kind of the off season here for our tourists, right? It's just getting to the part where people are showing up in like mass numbers because it's getting cooler. This is kind of what they call a snowbird area where people come during the cooler parts of the year and they leave during the ridiculously hot ones. Anyway. So I'm like, do you still have rooms? Oh, yes, of course. I said, do you rent to locals? And she goes, what? I said, do you rent rooms to people that live here in town? Because our AC went out and we don't have anywhere to stay for the weekend. And she says, I mean, of course we rent to locals. Why wouldn't we? I explained to the other one. She's like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Why would you not rent rooms to local people? I'm like, have you had issues with people doing drugs and stuff? And she goes, no. I said, I didn't think so. Apparently that place that I had booked with first had some sort of issue over the years, but whatever. So we went and we stay there for the weekend. It was kind of nice, a little mini vacation. We had our doge that we'd take out to go to the bathroom a few times a day, and we had some junk food. You know, you always got to order pizza and like Chinese food and crap when you're staying in a hotel. Of course, I mean, you have to. It's required kind of dining for when you do that. You have to eat junk food. So we had our little microwave and our little fridge and got that all taken care of, and it was neat. And then, so we're like, well, you know, the guy said we were going to be first on the list on Monday to get this installation done. That's what he told us before he left on, the previous Friday. So I'm like, well, we should probably check out of the hotel early and get there, nice and early so that we don't miss him, right? I don't want to miss him and have it be like, oh, crap, well, now we got to wait. So we check out of the hotel nice and early, about 8 a.m., come back home. The house is like 92 degrees. It was awful. Everything was warm. You could turn on a fan, but it's more like a hairdryer blowing at you. What I've always said about the difference between heat and cold, right? So if you're somewhere that's snowy a lot, you can turn on more heat. You can burn things if you need to. You can like chop up your furniture and burn it. But if you're somewhere hot, first of all, you can't shovel heat out of your driveway. Okay. Second, rolling pin, dude. Yeah, I'm gonna be the nagging spouse. You better. Anyway, so you can't shovel heat out of your driveway, and then at a certain point you're just nude and miserable, and you have a bunch of fans blowing at you because there's nothing else you can do when it's really hot outside. And so it was nice and warm in the house. And we're waiting, and it's like, 8 turns to 10, and 10 turns to noon, and noon turns to 1, and I'm like, what is going on? So, like, I contact the landlord first, and I'm like, this guy has not gotten back to us, right? And he said we were going to be first on the list, and we weren't, So she contacts him and says, well, he says they're still waiting for the part. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You're still waiting for the part? Oh yeah, no, it's taking longer than expected. So I called the guy, and I said, should we, should we get another hotel? And he says, that's up to you. And I said, okay, well, I don't know. So, I keep waiting. The insinuation was, well, the part's not in yet, but it's going to be here today at some point. So, no worries. Right? Beat you. They're going to beat you. Yes, take it. You like it. Yes. Oh, God. How much abuse is he going to take? I need something different. This is not working. And so I'm like, all right, well, we'll stick it out because obviously it's like, it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There's only a few hours left in the business day. So, I mean, it's got to be at some point today, right? Foolish us. Apparently, someone had left a message on our phone that we didn't get because we were transferring back and forth from the hotel at the time. Someone had left a message, and it said basically this: the part's not going to be in today, and so it's going to be another day. Well, so now I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh God, now we got to go get another hotel. Well, we called that same one back, and it turns out they still had a room. And they were quite sympathetic to our plight, as it were. And so we go back and we stay another day. Then, okay, so now it's Tuesday morning. I'm like, this guy has to be ready first thing this morning. There's no way, dude. So we wait until about 10 o'clock this time. And, check out, go back to the house, and I'm just sitting there, right? We're just sitting there waiting. I give the guy another phone call. I'm like, what is going on? And he says, well, it's still not time yet. Oh, so I said, oh, geez. So what I had done is I had left my wife and the dog at the hotel because I'm like, this time you may as well not be miserable. So I got here. He had called me and said, I'm here at the house because I saw him on the security camera. And I went, oh crap, I'm driving on the way to the house to meet this guy. So I call his company and I'm like, just tell him to stay there. I'm going to be there in like literally 5 minutes, right? And she goes, okay, I'll tell him. So I get there. He's not there. He had already left, right? And so I'm like, well, crap, right? What do I do now? So I called his cell phone. And I was like, dude, what is going on here? You were supposed to meet me here. It was 5 minutes. And he says, I already installed the part, okay? Your AC is working. I didn't have to come into the place. And I'm like, okay, well, thank you very much. And he says, you're welcome. Jeez. And hangs up the phone. It's like, this is another one of those instances where it's like, am I the asshole here for being upset? Where's my sword? It's like, am I the asshole here for being upset about this? Or is it him? I can't tell. Anyway, so it took, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days to get one part for an AC that's apparently, I looked it up. This is not a rare part, okay? It's not like they had to order from some factory in China to get this thing, right? Anyway, so finally we get all done. We get in here and it's nice and cool and the AC is back on. But now the landlord doesn't want to reimburse us for having the hotel. It cost us like $400 to stay those days. Anyway, so that's my little blurb. That's what I had to go through a couple weeks ago. Gosh, what a nightmare. Anyway, while it gets a little crazy here, I'm going to let you go. We'll see you on the next one here on Orpheus Plays. Be good, do good, and treat yourself well because you deserve it. All right, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.